Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all had a lovely weekend, whatever. I don't really have much to add today, so I am just going to get straight into it, bar one thought, okay? I need to know if this is just me, right? Has anyone else gone down a massive Columbine rabbit hole? Obviously, I already knew about Columbine. Who hasn't heard, apart from my best friend, about Columbine? But this lady, I think her name's Mo, came up on my TikTok and now I can't get rid of her. So I now know more than the average person about Columbine. Since her coming up all the time, I've watched 2 documentaries, I've ordered 2 books, and I fear I may never get out of this rabbit hole. I fear I could go down it for the next couple of years. Is anyone else's TikTok Mo? There's not many rabbit holes I let myself kind of get sucked into, but this one I'm now so invested. Like, even my Amazon is suggesting for me the shirts that the assailants were wearing at the time, which is wrong. That should not be a thing. Who's buying that? But it came up and I was like, what is this? And then I looked into it and I was like, that's what it is. So yeah, let me know if it's just me or if you're getting that as well. Today I'm going to be discussing the case of Rebecca Aylward and Joshua Davies. I don't believe I have any trigger warnings for this case, but content warning, as always, strong language. Rebecca Aylward was born on the 28th of February 1995 in Bridgend, South Wales. She was the oldest of her 3 siblings and she was known to be incredibly empathetic. She was always standing up for bullies, helping and protecting everyone that she possibly could. When she was 13, she met a boy who would soon become her boyfriend named Joshua Davies. Both of them seemed to share a lot of the same values. They were both incredibly intelligent and ambitious, so they seemed like a perfect match. Rebecca was absolutely smitten with Josh. He would spend quite a lot of time over at her house and he got on with her family really well and her younger siblings, and it just seemed lovely. However, a red flag of Josh's seemed to be that he had a special interest in antique knives and hunting knives and guns. Rebecca and her younger sister Jessica went over to Joshua's house one day and he pretended to threaten Rebecca with a hunting knife. Now, just to backtrack slightly, they are 13. Who in their right mind is giving a 13-year-old a knife? My brother's nearly 16 and I wouldn't give him a knife, because who the fuck gives someone, even if it's just special interest, why would you give someone a knife? Like, I don't really get that. Like, and if you are going to gift this very young child a knife, why are they not kind of hidden away or in somewhere where you can monitor him with these knives? Like, is no one parenting? Sorry, it was Rebecca's younger sister Jessica that he pretended to threaten with the knife. She knew it was a joke and she did laugh it off, but she felt very uncomfortable and unnerved by the situation, which you would, because she's a younger sister, so she's even younger than 13. 3 months into their relationship, Joshua spends the weekend at Rebecca's house with her family, and they spend it playing games, watching movies, laughing, taking photos, painting each other's nails. Joshua would describe it as the best weekend of his life. However, just a few hours after his mum had picked him up and he had left the house, he broke up with her, which makes no sense. Rebecca's mum said she was absolutely devastated by this, and no one could really understand why he had done this if he'd just had, like he said, the best weekend of his life. After the breakup, Joshua's behaviour towards Rebecca seemed to do a complete 180, and he started spreading nasty rumours about her. He started bullying her at school. He seemed to turn on her so much that he just absolutely hated her, and he now wanted to turn everyone else to hate her just as much as he did. I mean, thankfully, the couple shared the same friendship group, so they didn't let this happen. They didn't turn on Rebecca, and they actually tried to encourage Josh to just leave her alone. Josh's response to this was that he stated that even knowledge of her existence irritated him, which is just totally bizarre that you can do such a big flip and now you're irritated by merely knowing that they're alive. Rebecca confided in her friends and said that she thought Josh wanted to kill her, and Josh had been saying to his friends he'd been kind of exploring different ways that he could kill Rebecca. However, none of these threats were taken seriously. Sorry, I've got hair on my face. Josh did not have a violent or aggressive nature. Despite his fixation with guns and knives, he was not in any way a violent person, so they didn't take his threat seriously at all. After a few months of what I'm sure was absolute hell for Rebecca, things seemed to cool down a little bit. They weren't friends by any means, but he'd stopped harassing her and bullying her. In the summer of 2010, Rebecca got really poorly and she spent quite a lot of time in hospital. She was constantly throwing up and doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. Her friends were all texting her and coming to visit her and just checking on how she was doing. Josh, however, didn't text her, didn't go to see her. He just continued his life, completely denying her existence. Josh and his friends met up every Saturday morning to go for breakfast together. It was something they just always did. And on one of these breakfasts, he started going on again about killing Rebecca. Again, his friends didn't take him seriously, but one of them said, "If you kill her, I'll buy you breakfast." And Josh said, "Okay." And they all laughed and probably forgot about the interaction. Rebecca was eventually discharged from hospital and went back to school in September and just started moving on with her life and ended up getting a new boyfriend. But Josh was not happy about this. Suddenly, Josh went completely back the other way and decided that he liked Rebecca again. He was very jealous of this new boyfriend. He was not happy about it and wanted to get back together with her. And Rebecca still had feelings for Josh, somehow, because he sounds like a dick. On the 22nd of October, Josh texts Rebecca basically saying that he wanted to meet up with her and was implying that they were going to get back together. And Rebecca was so happy about this. She ran downstairs to show the conversation to her mum. So apparently something that Josh did before like a big change in his life or before he did something big, he'd change his profile picture. And after he had texted Rebecca saying that he wanted to meet with her, he changed his profile picture to a picture of a wooded area. Rebecca and her mum saw this and they couldn't quite figure out exactly what this meant, because generally when he changed his profile picture, it had some correlation to what he was about to do. So this didn't really make a whole lot of sense to them. But this just made Rebecca more excited because she was totally sure that he was going to ask her to be his girlfriend again. Saturday the 23rd of October, Rebecca was getting ready to go and meet Josh and she was just ecstatic, bless her. She was so excited. She was dancing around her room. She'd got a new outfit to wear to go and meet him and she was just so excited to be getting back together with him. Josh was having breakfast with his friends and when it came time to leave, he said to the guys, "The time has come," and he left. Rebecca got dropped off at the train station where she was supposed to be meeting Josh. She waited there for 10 minutes and Josh still wasn't there. He was just kind of like a no-show. Then she got a text from him saying, "Change your plans, let's meet at the park." So she went there. She got there and Josh wasn't there and she was looking around and she was just thinking, he's stood me up. She called her mum while she was waiting and explained the situation. Josh then texted her again saying, "Meet me at the village." Her mum was still on the phone at this point and she was not impressed about Josh keeping changing the plans and kind of messing Rebecca about, which is fair enough. So her mum decided to stay on the phone while she went to the next location to try and meet Josh. Again, she got there and Josh wasn't there. 10 minutes later, however, he arrived and Rebecca got off the phone to her mum saying, "He's here, it's fine." Around 4 hours later, Rebecca's mum got a phone call from Rebecca's auntie, so I'm guessing her sister or sister-in-law, saying that she was struggling to get hold of Rebecca. Her phone was off. "Could you pass on a message for me?" This really worried Rebecca's mum, Sonia, because she was known to be really good with her phone and really reliable about staying in contact and knew how important it was. She thought, well, she should really be home pretty soon because the plan was she was meeting Josh, going into town and then coming home. So 4 hours later, she should be coming home pretty much imminently. Sonia then began calling all of Rebecca's friends to see if they had heard from her, if they knew where she was, what was going on, and obviously none of them had. So Sonia and her auntie, Rebecca's auntie, then actually got in their cars and started physically driving around trying to find Rebecca or Josh. Her younger siblings and a younger sister were constantly calling Rebecca and Josh's phone, trying to get hold of either of them, and no one was picking up. Around 8 or 9 p.m. that evening, Rebecca had now been missing for 7 or 8 hours, so Sonia decided to call the police and officially report her missing. Around an hour after this, she finally got in contact with Josh, who said that he'd not seen Rebecca at all and had been at his nan's house all day, which she thought was odd because she had Josh on Facebook, so she saw that he had been with his friends. He said that he did speak to her on the phone, but he didn't actually see her because he had to stay at his grand's all day, so he rang her and told her that. But Sonia was like, "Well, I was on the phone to her when you arrived, so who the hell was it that arrived? Because if it wasn't you, who was it?" Josh, however, did seem panicked and worried about Rebecca's whereabouts, and all of her friends, including Josh, were posting on Facebook to raise awareness that Rebecca was missing. Josh even went as far to post on Sonia's Facebook saying that he was feeling for her. The next morning, Rebecca still wasn't home, and this was broadcasted on their local news channel. And when one of Josh's friends saw this, he confided in his parents and said things that Josh had said and showed them Josh's Facebook post. So they went to the police and went with his profile picture and said, where is this? You might kind of want to look here. So the police went to the woods, and when they did, they found the body of 15-year-old Rebecca. The post-mortem on Rebecca revealed that she had died from extensive brain injuries. She had been hit on the back of the head with a rock, and she'd been hit so hard and so much that her brain had actually, like her skull had caved in. Police immediately went and arrested Josh Davies, and Sonia was in his corner backing him initially because she said there's no way Josh would ever do something like this to Rebecca. He's innocent. But the police were like, no, we're pretty adamant that Josh is responsible for the murder of Rebecca. Police questioned pretty much all of Josh's and Rebecca's mutual friends, and literally all of them said they thought Josh was responsible. Josh's trial began in July of 2011. During the search of Josh's home, they discovered that this probably wasn't the first attempt at killing Rebecca, as they found several bottles of homemade poison. And poison had been one of the methods he'd actually discussed with his friends as a way of killing Rebecca. A few days before the murder, he had texted his friend that had offered to buy him a breakfast if he killed Rebecca, saying, "Don't say anything, but you might just owe me that breakfast." The day of the murder, one of Josh's friends had texted him saying, "Are you with Rebecca?" And he responded with, "Define with." Prick. Josh's defence was that he was there for the murder, but it wasn't actually him that had committed the murder. It was his friend, who they'd been playing a game, and his friend got angry with Rebecca, and he was the one who hit her in the back of the head with the rock several times. Josh's friend, however, testified that it was absolutely Josh that had committed the murder, as he had taken him to go and see Rebecca's body. Josh had told his friends that he initially tried to snap her neck, but said, "It's harder than you think." When that failed, Rebecca realised what Josh was trying to do to her and began screaming and fighting him off and trying to get away. And it was at that point he realised he needed a new method to kill her, and he absolutely had to kill her because she'd seen him trying to kill her. On July 27th, 2011, Josh was found guilty of the murder of Rebecca and was sentenced to life in prison with the minimum sentence of 14 years, which really isn't a lot. That's nothing. Realistically, like in the grand scheme of things, 14 years is nothing. He'll be like, how old was he when he went down? Like 15. So he won't even be 30 when he gets out. Like, really? That's just not enough time. But yeah, that is today's case all done, and it was horrible. I'm sorry. It's just, I want to know kind of if there was any psychiatric evaluation done to Josh, because just the switch up alone is enough to make me go, something's not quite right there. He was the one that ended the relationship. You could kind of understand the switch up slightly more if Rebecca had been the one to end the relationship, but she wasn't. And to go from having the best weekend of your life to then bullying her, spreading nasty rumours, and just being a complete dick, it's just very bizarre. And to do this with the promise of a free breakfast, like, really? Really? That is today's case all done. I need a positive thought. My positive thought, I've got a really easy positive thought. Happy days. My positive thought, actually, I think this will be gone by the time this comes out, but it's fine. My positive thought right now, as of the 15th of February, is on Wednesday, me and my mum are having a lovely day out together. We're going to Bicester, and I'm so excited just to have a nice, lovely, girly day. I can't wait. So that's my positive thought of the day. Until then, make good choices. Don't get into young relationships. Killing someone is not worth a free breakfast. 14 years is not long enough when you've caved someone's skull in. Ugh. Don't get murdered. I'll see you next week. Love you, bye. Is this too short? Does it look stupid? I might do Elliot when I look better. Popular. I just want to be skinny. I don't know where that came from. Seriously, Josh did not... Sorry, I've got hair on my face. Oh God, I think I'm going to piss myself before I finish this. I want a Kindle. Someone buy me a Kindle.